Hello. We're here with Frosty and Randall. Hello. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Thanks for coming here. It's in my parents' backyard.
TFTI. TFTI.
But not used sarcastically. Well, anyway, thank you so much for being here. Let's get into it. So, what did we do today?
So we recorded 3 original tracks. 2 of them were produced by Randall and Yusuf, and then one of them was actually produced by the homie Joseph Jam. So shout out to Joseph. But yeah, it's just really cool to see like where a song started, and you know what it can evolve into with a really talented group of musicians like Randall and Donnie and Chris and whoever else, you know, ever jams with me. So.
That's really great. And you guys are working on releasing an EP soon, right?
Yes, we are. So I believe by the time that this is out, the EP will already be released. It's a self-titled EP called Frosty, and it's really just, you know, showing the world like what I got, what I'm capable of, but in like a raw kind of like, I would say unfiltered, but you know, just like a raw like version of myself that's not super duper digitized. It is with a live band, so I think that's pretty neat because not too many artists, you know, like the first project they put out was with a live band. So I consider myself very lucky to know the people that I do and for them to be willing to work with me.
That sounds good. So, for this set especially, like you worked with Randall. So how long have you two been working together? Like, what's the story behind
I think we started in like July of last year.
A little over a year.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
It's been awesome. Exactly.
Yeah.
We met at the Cool Lab project.
Hey, shout out Cool Lab.
Always
Shout out.
representing.
Yeah, we met at the Cool Lab, and he was one of the first people to like ask me to like jam, and you know, I'm usually very like hesitant, or I used to be very hesitant. I still kind of am when people ask me to jam. I like to get to know them as like humans first, and then base like that relationship being like, okay, well, I feel comfortable working with them. So it was really cool to kind of like ease into like the musical relationship, like we, you know.
Did some covers first.
Yeah, we definitely did some covers, and yeah, I think we just like vibe pretty well, like musically.
Yeah, and Yusuf, the homie that co-produced a lot of the original tracks we have, he and I had been working together, and that was kind of the start of me really getting more into hip hop and making hip hop, I should say. But he and I had spent maybe 3 or 4 months making music together, and then yeah, we thought Frosty was dope, so we decided to ask if she'd be down to work on an EP.
Yes.
And here we are, you know, like a year later, about to put it out, and it'll be out when this comes out, so it's a really exciting time.
Yeah, it is. I remember when we were first talking, you were saying how you just had a bunch of songs written out like as poems, and then you did a lot of the music behind that.
Yeah, so everything on the EP is original composition, you know. Yusuf, actually for Riding Down the Block, Yusuf came up to me, well, we were in my old studio, he was humming this melody to me, that one, and so I started playing it, and we had a beat, and we're like, yeah, this is the track. And
Yeah.
that's gonna be the single. I mean, that's a single off the EP, you know, so it's crazy. It's been a crazy adventure. But yeah, all of the stuff is original, and like Frosty was saying, you know, live band recording, we're not doing anything with samples, we're not doing anything that we can't replicate on stage.
It's 100% organic,
Yeah,
grass-fed.
I eat meat too.
I'm trying to quit. Me.
Oh, really?
Yes, but it's hard because I'm Mexican, and in almost every dish, I'm
doing
sure
it?
there's more of like an indigenous like diet that I
Right.
could be eating,
Okay.
but definitely would like to cut back on meat intake for global warming reasons. But also like, which I guess it ties into just like me as an artist. like holding people accountable, whether it be like corporations, just in general, you know. That's just stance I take like politically, and you can kind of see it in my music, like with we recorded What's an Apology today, but I wrote that around the Me Too like movement, and it just is like referencing, you know, people who say that they're sorry, but only after they got caught, just so they don't look like a piece of shit for, you know, doing something and not saying sorry.
Like they're trying to say
they feel like obligated to say sorry. So I wrote a song about, you know, is your sorry authentic, or are you just saying it because you need to, because socially people are telling you what you did was wrong, so you feel obligated to say sorry. So yeah, you can kind of see it in my music, like how I try to portray my ideologies in my songs and kind of get the message across in that manner, because a lot of the times people only listen for so long. If you're just giving a speech about something or a presentation, people need something like repetitive and catchy that can really stick with them. So that's what I try to do with music.
That's really cool. I'm glad that you're trying to spread that message, like that personal and political, the personal is political message into your music. You know, because I think that's something that a lot of people in our society are afraid to talk about, just because they're afraid that it might cost them a job, you know, or it might cost them their friendships. A lot of people decide not to talk to each other anymore due to political differences, you know.
Yeah. Especially with today's political climate, and being that the 2020 elections are just around the corner, I think it's very important for us to recognize like the power in ourselves and in our craft, whatever it is that we love to do, and we can make a difference, the smallest difference, by doing what we love, you know, and just making it meaningful with intent. So that's what I'm trying to do through music, you know, and just be that positive figure who isn't just worried about how many followers I have, or like, oh, people aren't gonna listen to my music if this is what I'm saying. When are you gonna cut off the line? I'm like, your true authentic self, and then the self that other people will be able to digest. You know, you don't want to water yourself down. So that's what I'm trying to do with my music, just trying to be authentic and stuff.
And I can tell that you're trying to empower people through your music, you know, and that you have good intent. And speaking of intent, I know that's one of the intention is one of the 3 principles of Mo Better Monday.
I see,
so,
Megan.
All these segues.
When I said the word, I was like, ooh, I wonder if anyone's gonna notice this. But yeah, so I host an event. I appreciate that. I host an event every Monday called Mo Better Monday. It is founded by the same person who founded the Cool Lab Project, Alaz. And the Cool Lab Project did so well that the 4th Street Market told him, like, you want to do another night? And he was like, you know, I'm down. And I think Mondays was one of the only days that was open. And he asked me if I wanted to host the first one, and I was like, challenge accepted. So yeah, I think it was me and Alejandro Mascoro, who were like the first. He was the first Mo Better Monday feature. He did like a violin set, like a modern interpretation of songs. Or I don't know, a interpretation of songs with his violin. And yeah, it was, the first one was a success, and then it's just a matter of being consistent and coming out. And luckily I've had some really amazing artists come through to Mo Better. And I'm actually like, me and Randall are like the house band of Mo Better Mondays. So I do a performance before the feature performance. And it has really helped me, you know, come into my own as a performer and just as a public speaker. I definitely needed to work on that as an artist, because that's something that's, you know, I find to be like important. You can make amazing music like in the studio, whatnot, but it's a whole nother thing to be a good performer, you know. So that's really where I'm trying to go. That's what I'm trying to do, is just be that person, that Mexican rock star.
Are you trying to go for like the whole Selena?
I wouldn't say I'm trying to go for like the Selena like vibe, aesthetic, but definitely be someone that younger, you know, brown girls or girls of color can look up to, and not just be like idolized for, you know, my physical features, or just very like surface level sort of like ideals or like beauty standards and stuff. I'd rather be acknowledged for my for my brain or my poetry or the way I carry myself, or something like that. So I think that's way more important. And surrounding myself with, people who, do the same is equally as important. So, yeah.
Yeah, like one of your lyrics is pretty poet laying down her prophecy, right?
Yes. Dang, Megan's coming through with the references. Yes, pretty poet laying down her own prophecy.
Yes.
That's a line and show me. But yeah, just one of those like INDEPENDENT, what you know about me kind of lines. But yeah.
It sounds good. So, Randall, how are you helping Frosty lay down her own prophecy?
Musically, and composing a lot of the works that we're putting out, arranging. Anytime someone like Joseph Jams or BTE comes to us with a track, Frosty hops on, like Show Me or Pretty Shade of Blue. I work with, like Chris and Donnie are filling in the band with us. I work with them on arranging for live performance. And then we've definitely been sitting on the tracks from the EP for a bit now because we really have decided to put a lot of emphasis on making sure we're ready. We have the buttoned up kind of plan for how we're going to promote, how we're going to package, how we want to come across. It's so exciting when you get those master files back. And you're like, oh my God, it's ready. Like, let's show everyone.
Right.
We showed some friends on the low, but I consider the Frosty project right now, until the EP comes out, we're still in this beta phase where we're working with a bunch of artists to kind of solidify the look off of the EP. We have some posters that our homie Shelly designed for us, hand illustrated. It's kind of promoting our summer line of shows, our summer tour, our Frosty Summer. So I'm trying to bring I worked in corporate like advertising and marketing for 7 or 8 years before this, and so I'm trying to bring that level of organization and those experiences working with other vendors and artists and just putting the plan in place so when we launch and leading up to the launch, we can kind of just breathe, because
Breathing room's important.
Yeah, I don't like stressing last minute, so we meet to practice, we meet to have business meetings and go over like numbers and updates on status that we divide up the project. So I think, like Frosty and I collectively are very much partners in this project creatively, and I believe in the mission and the vision, and it's nice to just be able to support.
Yeah, it is nice to support, but we also want to support you as well. I know you just dropped Saturn Return, which was your EP recently.
Yeah.
You did that before you started traveling the world.
Yeah. So, real quick, that EP for me was very important because there was a lot of personal stuff happening in my life that was really, really hard and really heavy, and in addition to that, I also lost my job and my place to live. So I decided I was going to leave the country and just kind of take a reset. So before I did that, I didn't want to just disappear, and I wanted to put a project out while I still had my music studio.
Yeah.
So I put out this EP collection of 5 songs from maybe a year ago to up to the date, March 17th it came out. I had been working on some stuff in March, and 4 instrumentals, 1 hip-hop track that I rap on, and yeah, it's a little bit of psychedelic funk, a little hip-hop, just a lot of guitar playing, and it's also the last recording I have of my Les Paul that got stolen. So yeah, it's a really significant project. Saturn Return in astronomy, right? That's the one that's astrology and astronomy, whatever the one it is. Astrology. My bad.
For musicians.
Saturn Return is this event that happens every like 27 to 29 years, where Saturn returns to the place in the sky which it was when we were born. And some guy in a coffee shop told me about this. I didn't know about this, but I had already been working on the EP.
Right.
And
it was presented to you.
Yeah, this guy I had a conversation with, and I was kind of telling him what was going on in my life. This older gentleman, and he was like, "Oh, it sounds like you're going through this." And I looked it up, and I was like, "Damn, I really am." So I wrote the whole EP. I named it that.
Oh, cool.
I got my friend back home to
awesome.
do the artwork on the cover, which is just kind of like it's like a guy in a business suit, and there's just like this galaxy exploding out of his chest, and like it's really psychedelic and black and white. And that's how I felt. And yeah, that's the EP, I guess, in a few moments.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, and I have some other stuff that I'm planning on writing and recording and getting out. I think my next project is going to be more lyrical, but this is my focus right here.
Yeah.
So maybe after August, I can think about other things, but right now I'm just like ready to get this all going.
Yeah, this is a really exciting project, and I think it's going to gain a lot of traction from people.
Thank you.
Not only because it's plugged into that hip hop scene that's being established locally, but because you do have that message that you're trying to put forth. So yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, and
really
I think by the time that this video's out, the EP will already have dropped. So it's Frosty. You can find it on all major music streaming platforms. Digitally, I have a limited run of physical copies, and the physical copies actually have like exclusive poems, and it's actually incorporated like a prayer that my mother used to say to me when I couldn't fall asleep at night. So that's just another way that I wanted to kind of keep my authentic self in my music, and I feel as though other people will be able to connect to it, and it's just more personal, because I feel like a lot of the time people are scared to kind of unveil their like childhood, memories or stuff like that. But I think it's really important, and I love to incorporate it in my work because, that's what made me. So.
That's so great. Well, we're looking forward to hearing it. What are you trying to ultimately do, once you push this EP and once you establish the initial first impressions of your music?
So what I would the goal is just keep making music. I honestly just started, as Randall mentioned, we kind of talked. I just started becoming serious about my music a little over a year ago. So just maintaining and just constantly learning, because there's so much knowledge that I still have yet to attain, and I come across musicians like Randall, like Chris, or just anyone in general that talks about music theory and notes and pitches and stuff. I still have no musical background in that sense, but I do think that music is a universal language, and you can feel what someone is saying or what someone is singing without understanding the language. So just being able to navigate that as a tool, a revolutionary tool to help underprivileged kids or just be someone who has never been represented in society, especially with the whole stuff that's going on with the political climate that we're talking about, the whole border situation. I don't see too many dark-skinned Latinas or Chicanas that are on the poster board or on magazine covers that aren't 100% completely just sexualized, and they have no other sort of talent other than looking pretty. So I want to be someone that young girls can look up to and be well, it's possible to do this, this, and this. You don't have to be half naked to do that. So,
and I think you're already achieving that, and I think you will achieve that for a bigger audience. Thank you so much for being here today.
thanks for having us.